so now we've got this basic shell for the walls of the building. We can go right ahead and put some floors in, which will be refined later to match the real structure of this building. But for now, I'm just going to do it in a simple way, and this is a good method to follow for most floors that you put into a building like this. Starting with the ground floor, and this is the way you would have done it in the last exercise as well. The ground floor walls I'm going to have supporting, the ground floor I'm going to have supporting the walls. So I'm simply going to go to the floor tool. Again, if you don't want to choose an option from the arrow menu that comes up there, you can just click onto the button next to the line dividing it there. You click on floor, it does the tool or the floor by footprint option, or floor architectural, same thing. So we can draw the shape in plan. And so then you'll see in the ribbon in the draw panel that you have this section with all the different shapes you can draw. Just want to make sure there it's on pick walls, which should be the last button. And just to get used to it, this isn't essential, but it's going to help later if you turn off this option, extend into wall to core on the options bar there. So just those two settings. Yeah. I've got to be on pick walls for that to come up. Yeah. And so then now I'm simply going to pick onto the outer edge of the wall. Now if you get the inner edge by mistake, don't worry, because you can click on the arrow that comes up in the middle of that line to flip it to the outer edge. So you can always flip it side to side as you're making it. And even if you don't notice until you do the next one, it doesn't matter, because you can flip it then. And notice it does both of them. So all I'm doing is picking the four outer edges of those four walls. And that's it, it's that easy. I'm going to leave it with the default floor, which is generic 150mm. Tick to finish. And have a look at it in the section. Now, I've double clicked on the arrowhead of that section line to open up the section view. Now, if you don't see anything in this section view, I'm going to show you in a minute how to move everything to fit in with those views. Yeah, so it just means your section line's somewhere else, but that's okay. We can move all of the building afterwards. So at this point, it probably is a good stage to think about moving everything, because at the moment we can still select everything in the ground floor plan. So what I'm going to do there in ground floor, I'm just going to zoom out so I can see absolutely everything. So not just the walls, but also the views that go around those walls. So you should have 4 elevation views, which should be your outermost objects, those things at the compass points going around the whole view. And then also a section line going through the middle. And so if your building isn't centred inside those 4 elevation views, what you need to do is select the whole building, just make a window going left to right. So at this point it's easier to move the building than to move the views. So again, left to right, we'll select the walls and also the reference planes if you go out far enough. So make sure you do get the reference planes. If they're too long to select with a window, you can always just hold down Control on the keyboard and then click directly onto them. Yeah, you don't want to select that. Yeah, so to deselect, just hold down Shift and then click on anything that you don't want selected. So they won't be blue. Yeah. So anything that's selected should be highlighted in blue. And you'll see in properties it should say common 9. So there should be 9 things there to select. Yeah, so you've missed some. That's okay, I'll come around and have a look at it in a minute. So what I'm going to show you there, you can use the arrows on the keyboard to nudge that around and just try and get it centred within those views, because again, they're your elevation views, those 4 views around the outside, using the arrows on the keyboard.
Can you move it up and down?
Yeah, yeah.
And do you need to move, like my section lines are like wide.
That's okay, the length doesn't really matter. We'll fix that afterwards. Yeah, so you just haven't selected them. So I'd move it back and then make sure you select the reference planes as well. So that's always, again, good practice. When you're setting up your project, just try and think about how things you're drawing relate to the views. And again, I'll be able to come around and have a look at it in a minute anyway. So now that I've done that, I'm going to adjust the section line. So I can select that section line, and so we know how big the building is. We know it's not going to get any bigger than this. And so by selecting that section line, I can bring in these arrows, which are the view. So that's the size of the section view. The section line, is just a graphical thing that you'll have on your plan. But again, I'm going to bring it back because we don't need it to be so long. Yeah. And there's no right or wrong here. You can easily adjust it again later. So I'm just clicking and dragging on the arrows and then also on the end of the line. You could, yeah. It's not really that important. No. Not really, but it just will make your life easier if they're not too long. And so the idea is just to make them as long as they need to be, so they don't need to be much bigger than the building. Mine could be. Yeah. So you can anything you can just select it and then click and drag on the grip on the end to change the size. And so then the final thing is the elevation views. And again, you can do this at any point. If you select those, it's best to do it with a window, because there are actually 2 things there. There's the symbol and then the view. And they are separate things. So you can see over here it's got common 2. Because I've selected with a window, if I just click onto it, it'll only give me one thing. So that's just a little tip there. If you make a window around it, and again, I'll use the arrows on the keyboard just to bring that in closer to the building, and do that with all 4 symbols. Yeah, as long as you've selected it with a window, you can do that. Just make sure you select with a window to get both of the objects that are there. If you just click and drag, yeah, it'll only get one, and that'll make things work differently. So, no, it doesn't have to be, no. So these are just to indicate which side of the building each elevation's taken from. And so again, they don't need to be so far away. Initially they're set up a long way from the building because they don't know when they're making these templates how big your project's going to be. But once you do know, then you can start adjusting things accordingly. Yeah. Yeah, look, I'll come over and have a look in a minute. Yep. So again, all of this is recorded though. So if I go to level 1, you can see that most of that's changed. The elevation views have moved in, but the section line hasn't. So again, you can just change that symbol. The view is already adjusted. So just to finish off, I'll show you the floor for this level. Those changes to the views aren't critical. It's just a good thing to start thinking about at this point. And it's easier if you do it at the beginning as well. But the last thing I just want to show you there is to make the floor on level 1, it's a bit different to the ground floor. So I've opened level 1, I'm going to click on the floor button, and then this time I'm going to click on the inside edge of the walls. Oh, that's because the upper level floor is supported by the walls, so it's hanging off the inside. essentially of the sandstone walls that you have. And so remember the lower level walls, floor was on the outer edge, but the upper level floor is on the inner edge. Yeah, is that, you took the finish, and then you might get a message asking to join geometry and cut the overlapping volume. Just say yes to that one. So I'll just show you in the section view now. I can see then we've got the floors showing properly. But again, we'll add in more detail to show the footings and everything afterwards. So that's it for now. I'll give you